Hi, my name is Grace Chirenje, and I was the consultant or lead researcher for the just launched Gaps and Opportunities for Young People's Participation and Accountability. So 3 gaps that we found. Number 1, there needs to support young people around knowing their basic human rights. And I think what can be done in terms of that is to say, how can civil society, businesses, government come together and work with young people? The second gap that we noticed was that young people absolutely want to use social media, especially WhatsApp, to understand their rights more and to engage, to report corruption and so on. But the challenge is that data is very expensive. So what can be done is government, civil society can partner with telecommunications companies like Econet so that they can come up with ways of ensuring that young people have access to data and also social media services. The last thing that I think, I mean, there were many gaps, but the last thing I think is very important to note is that young women did say that they felt very unsafe because the space is very patriarchal. So what would be important is to create safety for young women to step up and to participate. So patriarchy is real, and there's need for all the stakeholders, the civil society organizations, government institutions, private sector, sub-national institutions to come together and create safety for young women to participate. I'm sure if we implement any of these, we'll begin a process of ensuring that youth in Zimbabwe are more active in terms of participation and also decision-making processes. So in order for any society or any community to develop, it is very, very critical to have a transgenerational participation of everybody. So unless we tap into the youth power, we're not going to be able to understand what exactly they need in order to make a difference. So let me give you an example. When we're doing the research, we realized that young people are absolutely excited about participating, but it's the how that's very important. So how do we package information? How do we engage them? How do we define, for example, work at their level? And unless we begin to do that, to sit and listen across generations, it's going to be very difficult for communities to develop. So transgenerational dialoguing, transgenerational communication is very important in order for societies, communities, and nations to develop as a whole. The most interesting thing that I discovered that was like an aha moment for me was the redefinition of work by young people. So I think because of our colonial narrative, work for us is I wake up 8 o'clock and I'm employed by someone else. But young people have redefined work. Work is not just about going and being employed by someone else. Work is anything that gives them any form of income. And one of the things that was an outcry from the young people is to say, how do we begin to redefine, number 1, redefine work for young people, but also number 2, how do we begin to create safety, accountability, and transparency? For example, with the young people who are vendors, they were saying that how can we get to know our own rights so that we can stand up to city council, to the police when they come and they harass us. So I think one of the critical things that needs to happen with civil society, with government, with private sector, with subnationals, is to redefine work as young people understand it, but also to say that how do they create safety nets so that whatever young people define as work, there's quite a lot of support to ensure that these young people are able to be productive and to continue to foster partnerships, collaborations, in order for them to continue making a decent living. Decency is the key here when we're looking at young people, the youth, and work.